leave it for the bomb squad. Yeah, whatever. From now on, I am the bomb squad.
Wait! Who are you?
You know who I am.
I do?
The bomb squad.
That's right, true believers. Today I'm reviewing Bomb Squad 3. I wanted to review this game before I started this series because there aren't that many good reviews of this game on YouTube, so I guess that this is the review that I was looking forward to the most. Regardless, here is my review of Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was the first Spider-Man game to be released on the 7th generation of game consoles. And because of that, it had a lot of potential to live up to, which it unfortunately failed to deliver upon people's expectations. While the first two Spider-Man movie games have both gotten positive reviews, Spider-Man 3 reviews are very mixed, with the highest reviews for both versions on Metacritic being a 53 for the Wii version and a 63 for the Xbox 360 version. Quite personally, I'm not a huge fan of Metacritic, but whether I like it or not, I'm just stating the facts. And yes, you heard me say both versions. Since most of my subscribers are Sonic fans, I think you'll understand this comparison. Spider-Man 3 did the same thing that Sonic Unleashed did, which is that the game was released on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, the Wii, and PlayStation 2, but the Wii and PS2 versions of the game are completely different to the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions. I've only played the HD version of Sonic Unleashed, but I've played both versions of Spider-Man 3. In fact, it's a very funny story. I always played the PS2 version as a kid, and I had no idea that the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions were different until Godzilla Mendoza did his review of the game, which started that glorious Bomb Squad meme that I played in the beginning of the video. I considered getting the HD version, but I kept forgetting about it, and I never played the HD version until about a year ago. So this review is coming off of only 1 year of experience with the game. If you want my opinion on the PS2 version, I haven't played it in about 2 years, but I remember it being okay. As for the Xbox 360 version, well, that's what I'm here to talk about. As always, I'll start off with the story. Just like other Spider-Man movie games, the plot is loosely based off the movie, but has its own plot points added in. But unlike the first two games, it really feels like filler. In the first movie game, most of the plot was based off the movie, and whenever there was additional stuff added in, it didn't feel so out of place, since that game was the origin of the character, so these were the villains that he started off with. In Spider-Man 2, a major plot point of the movie was balancing a normal life and the life of a superhero, and pretty much every plot point of the game has something to do with that. But in Spider-Man 3, everything just feels out of place. It feels like it's trying to tell its own narrative, but it's also forcing itself to tie into the movie. And to further add to this, there are only 4 missions based off the movie. the first fight with Harry, the fight with Sandman in the subway, Peter and Eddie competing to get a picture of Spider-Man, and the final battle at the construction site. No wonder why this story feels so inconsistent. If they had included more missions based off the movie, the story would have made way more sense. For example, in the movie, Harry gets amnesia, but slowly recovers his memory, but that plot point is completely ignored in the game. In the movie, Peter has problems with his relationship with Mary Jane, but in this game, that isn't addressed at all. So when she breaks up with him, it feels so unnatural. I could go on about this, but I think you get my point by now. The narrative that the game tries to tell on its own isn't so bad, but forcing in certain elements from the movie without making it consistent makes it fall flat on its face. Overall, the story isn't the worst thing ever, but the writers could have done a much better job with it. And this is coming from the guy who actually likes the movie.
Woo! Well, I guess it's all in day's work for your friendly... Holy sh**! Whoa, my god, okay,
Now I will finally discuss the gameplay, starting off with the story missions. They either involve fighting enemies, saving civilians, taking pictures, or doing some puzzle solving such as defusing bombs. Once again, the formula is simple but it works. Just like Spider-Man 2 and Ultimate Spider-Man, this game is open world, and the overall city is around the same size as Spider-Man 2, but one thing that I like about this game that isn't in any other Spider-Man game that is not a currently unreleased PS4 game is that you can actually go into subways and sewers, which adds a lot of liveliness to the city. And just like Spider-Man 2 and Ultimate Spider-Man, you can cross the bridge and access a smaller area of the map. Once again, it's extremely small, but still a very cool inclusion. Unfortunately, this is the last Spider-Man game where you are able to do this. If you're not able to cross the bridge in Spider-Man PS4, I'll be okay with that due to how big the city already is, but if you can, that's gonna blow my mind. The overall city of New York in Spider-Man 3 is around the same quality as the second game. Just like the previous games, there are side missions that you could do while free roaming, and while the previous games had a lot of variety in their side missions, there isn't much in this game. The only side missions that you could do is fight two gangs that are fighting each other. Wow, they predicted the subpar Bomb Squad 2 in this game as well. You can take pictures for the Daily Bugle, stop a criminal that is escaping from the police, stop thugs that are shooting at the police, and stop thugs that are speeding. But I will admit, the speeding car missions are much more realistically better than the previous games, because the civilian cars can actually get knocked over. And those are the only missions that you could do in Spider-Man 3. The only problem that I have with this is that there aren't any missions that involve saving regular people, like in the past games, and even the future ones, and that the side missions strictly involve fighting crime. Now I will discuss the combat. There are a lot of combos to use, but unlike in Spider-Man 2, where I actually have to think about what combos that I want to use, the combat in this game is pretty much just button mashing. And the dodge mechanic has been changed as well. Do you remember the spider reflexes from Spider-Man 2? Well, that's the only way to dodge attacks in this game. And your spider sense doesn't go off anymore, so you have to rely on this fist icon that appears on the top of enemies. When that shows up, hold down the left bumper to dodge their attack, and then you can strike them back with a counter attack. The thing is, your spider reflexes are not unlimited, so if you run out, you won't be able to dodge any attacks for a few seconds. I don't mind this mechanic, but I much prefer the spider sense from the second game. This game also has quick time events, also known as QTEs. I actually like QTEs, except for in this game and in Sonic Forces.
So, you swing on here, and then this whole section right here is automated. So, I'm not doing anything until like the very end of this section, when they give me one little quick time event, which even if you fail, you still don't die. So it's like, yeah, so you have to get the timing right if you want. Yeah, so I got perfect, so I got 70,000. If I didn't get the perfect, then I would have gotten less points, and that's it. If I completely didn't press the button, then I wouldn't die, but I would miss the red ring that was there. I'll get to a slightly lower route, but it's kind of the same route. So yeah.
The reason why I don't like them in this game is because you only get about a second or two to react, and if you fail the QTE, that causes you to lose health. So if you fail a QTE a certain amount of times, you have to do the entire mission again. And one of the other reasons why I don't like them in this game is, well, take a look for yourself. What was the point of that? I could have easily swung over there myself. And this cutscene right here, why wasn't this a quick time event? Of course, it's time to discuss web swinging, a crucial key to making a good Spider-Man game. All I can say about it is that it controls about the same as Spider-Man 2, except it's not as fast and the physics are less realistic. That's actually how I would describe this game. It's a more cartoony version of Spider-Man 2. But one thing that I like about the web swinging in this game that isn't in any other Spider-Man game is that you could swing off of two webs at once. It doesn't make you go any faster or higher, but I just think it looks cool. The very last thing to talk about gameplay-wise is the black suit, which, it's not that much different from the red and blue suit. It just has slightly different combos, stronger attacks, and runs much faster than the standard suit. And you get this range mode that allows your attacks to get even stronger, and you can do special attacks. While it's not much different from the standard suit, the black suit is still my favorite thing about this game. You don't get the black suit until you've gotten about halfway through the game, but I'd say that it's worth the wait. Now that the gameplay is out of the way, as usual, I'll talk about the graphics and the soundtrack. The graphics in this game aren't the worst thing ever, but, well, I have so many things to say about them. 1, they look like an upgraded PS2 game. 2, everything looks beta. 3, pretty much every character model except for Spider-Man and the Lizard looks ugly. And 4, animations are hilariously bad. Look at JJ in this cutscene. This looks like some sort of stupid Gmod video. And look at Eddie's animation in this cutscene. It's like he doesn't have bones. But like I said in my Spyro Reignited Trilogy video, I'd much rather play a fun game with terrible graphics over a boring game with stunning graphics. But the graphics in this game don't look bad. It's just that they could have done a lot better. As for the soundtrack, it's not as good as the other movie games and Ultimate Spider-Man, but it's better than the PS1 games. The soundtrack is just like Spider-Man 2. It uses some orchestral songs, some synthesizers, and some use of the electric guitar. And something that I like about the soundtrack is that each gang has their own individual theme songs, and that just adds to the atmosphere of this game. So that sums up about everything in Spider-Man 3, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'd actually say that I enjoyed this game just as much as Spider-Man 2, and ever since I've had this game, I've found it hard to pick my favorite, but I'd say that this review helped me figure it out. So, may I get a meme?
Hello.
Dr. Connors here.
Oh, Dr. Connors. How are you?
Quite a specimen you left me, Parker. Parker, you didn't keep any, did you? Peter? It amplifies characteristics of its host, especially aggression.
I'd say that Spider-Man 2 is the superior game, but I like this game more than the first movie game. I didn't give Spider-Man 2 a score because I found it hard to settle with one, but I'll give Spider-Man 3 a B rank. There was never a fourth Spider-Man movie because they had multiple scripts written for it and nobody liked any of them, so they decided to reboot the franchise. So with that said, that brings us to the end of this review, and next time I will be reviewing The Amazing Spider-Man. See you then.
I'm leaving for the night, sir.
We're having a guest.
A guest?
Yeah, a guest.
A guest?
You just get some food?
Right away, sir.